Well, would you look at that right there? It went to a Game 7. I'm going to break this episode in right here. Ducks over the Hurricanes in Game 7. Wow, the Stanley Cup Final went to Game 7. And we'll show you the playoff tree. I'll just go right into it because it's right here. Playoff tree. And by the way, this is off-season ahead of Season 3. So wow, what a Stanley Cup Final that would have been. Ducks and Canes. Canes on the run to the Stanley Cup Final. They played Washington, Rangers, and the Leafs. And they beat Washington in 6, Rangers in 6, and they beat Toronto in 5. And then the Ducks, who of course knocked us out, they played their main rival in California, the LA Kings. That would have been a great series between Quick and Hiller. So it turns out that we lost to the Stanley Cup champions. And Jonas Hiller going on a hell of a run. We're going to have to actually look at his playoff stats. We can look at that right now because we're in Stats Central. So we'll go to player stats and we'll just check out the entire Ducks roster. And I'm curious, what was Cam Ward's numbers as well? This was our playoff stats, by the way. So the best player was Callahan. Clearly a good pickup in the offseason was Callahan. I also want to look at our goaltender real quick before we look at anybody else. Mrazek played all 12 games in the playoffs. 2.63, I cannot argue with that. That's bad, not too bad. It's under 3 goals against average per game. The save percentage was a 91. I mean, it's getting close, creeping up to a 92. Not really the problem. I think Peter Mrazek, he's going to see a huge bump. He's 80 overall, so he's going to see a massive bump in this offseason as we go through the boring part of the GM mode in a moment. But first, Anaheim Ducks. Bob Kov, that was the backup goaltender. He got into 2 games. But I can't believe that he got into 2 games because Hiller was a beast, man. He had a sub-2 GAA in 22 games played. Stanley Cup champion as well. 15 wins, 4 losses, 2 overtime losses. 38 goals given up. 94.48 save percentage. We got to look at Jonathan Quicks as well because he was a beast. 4 shutouts as well in the playoffs. I don't think he shut us out in our series that we had with the Ducks, did they? I think we scored on him in every game at least. So we did have that going for us. And the Anaheim, let's look at the Anaheim skaters and see what all skaters did. Who led the Ducks in production? Bobby Ryan. I don't know who won the Conn Smythe, but we can look at that information when we sim through the offseason. We can look at the awards after the offseason. So we're simming. Let's sort this by points. And Ryan in points, of course, led them in goals too. Cam Fowler from the back end, Gatslav Sabisa, you can just see it here. I'll scroll it if you really want to see any of those stats. You can just pause the video. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. And likewise for Carolina, who, of course, got to the final and lost to the Anaheim Ducks. That would have been a great final. There's your points leaders, your goal leader. It looks like Jordan Stahl led the team in goals with 10. So good production out of the Carolina Hurricanes. Any of these guys, they were just shy of being point per game. So no 1 point per game for the Hurricanes, although I think it's really hard for a player to be point per game. In this game, goaltending-wise, they had Cam Ward, and he was a freaking beast. 1.8 GAA, 94 save percentage as well. So that, I'm wondering, was that a tightly contested Stanley Cup final? Can we go back and look at the result of the games? Before we do that, one more time, I want to see what Jonathan Quick did. Oh, God, Jonathan, these numbers are absurd for these goaltenders. I mean, even a 93% save percentage, that's unbelievable. That means he is stopping 93, almost 94% of the shots that he is facing. So if I go to scoring summary, okay, we can see the scoring summary from every game. So in Game 7, Anaheim outlasts Carolina 4-2. And it looks like that would have been Game 7 in Raleigh because the Hurricanes would have had home ice advantage with that 50-win season they put together. So Game 7... there's the score from Game 7. Game 6, the score from Game 6. So that high-scoring Game 6, by the way. Game 5, a shutout for Jonas Hiller over the Hurricanes. Game 4 went to overtime. Very exciting. Low-scoring overtime thriller. Goaltender's duel of a game. Game 3. And then Game 2. And I guess Carolina opened Game 1 with a victory. No, they did not. They lost Game 1. So it was Anaheim in Game 1. Anaheim in Game 2, then the Hurricanes in Game 3. That's on the road. And the Hurricanes went on the road and won both games in overtime. And then for Game 5, went back to home ice. Yeah, went back to Raleigh for Game 5, and they got shut out won Game 6 on the road. So the Hurricanes performed extremely well on the road in that series and then dropped Game 7. So there's your recap of the Stanley Cup Final. So there's the salary cap for the upcoming season, which will be Season 3 of the GM mode. It is a maximum of 70.3, so that will give us a little more flexibility. In terms of salary cap, we have $4.4 million available right now, and we haven't even gotten to the contracts stage of things, so we'll have to sort out contracts in the offseason. I don't think there's too much to go over with contracts, and of course we'll dip our toes into free agencies and potential trades that we can do. But first, we'll have the draft. Igenla retires with the Canadiens. I didn't even know he was there. Sergei Gonchar, it's about time that guy retired. Vinny Prospal, Ed Jovanovski, Dana Zubris, Hal Gill. You know my beef with Hal Gill from our Nashville series, if you watched that one. Patrick Elias, Jason Arnott did not get signed. He was a free agent for the season. Zdeno Chara retires very early. He would actually go on to play several more seasons in the real world. Chris Phillips, of course, longtime Ottawa Senator there. And I'm just going to go down the list. Oh, St. Louis. Yeah, that seems about right. Didn't Martin St. Louis retire around this time in the real world? Wade Redden was a free agent. Hanzus was a free agent. Dan Boyle for the Sharks. Did we lose anybody? I'm just looking to see if Calgary lost anybody. I'm just going to go through this list. Oh, yeah, we lost Jason Chimera. That doesn't surprise me. That makes total sense. Just trying to see if there's any names that really stand out here or any other names for our team. I think that's the only player we're losing to retirement. Now, wow. Yeah. Oh, I didn't look at goaltenders. No, I didn't look at goalies. I backed out too soon. I was wondering if Kiprasov retired because we didn't sign him in. I don't care about the trade block. We didn't re-sign him in free agency, but we're going into the draft. And if I am correct, I'm pretty sure this is the Connor McDavid draft year. So someone is getting Connor McDavid. It's not going to be the Calgary Flames. Does this game have... I guess this game has the lottery in it. I guess? I don't really know, but let's just look at the team standings by NHL standings before we go into the draft, just because we can do this. So, sort it by points. NHL sorted by points. And so the team most likely to probably end up with Connor McDavid is the Boston Bruins. So they had the worst season. Edmonton not quite bad enough to get McDavid. And of course... ourselves, we made the playoffs. We were in the NHL. We were the 12th best team in the NHL. So definitely no shot at the Flames getting McDavid unless trading for that first overall pick, which is just not going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that's not going to happen. So into the draft we go. Begin the entry draft, and it's the Florida Panthers. So they won the lottery. There is a lottery in this, and I'm not even going to entertain the idea of trying to trade for that first overall pick. In fact, I'm not worried about trading down. At this point, we're doing 5 seasons. Remember, at this point, the players that we draft here in this offseason and beyond doesn't really matter because they're not really going to develop into anything. And remember, we got Aaron Ekblad in the last draft. So, I'm pressing continue. Okay, there we go. Continue player pick and trading. I'm just not interested in that. I do want to I want to hang up all my phones, shut down the phones. No trades to be made. Connor McDavid, big surprise, goes to the Florida Panthers. And who does the Oilers? The Oilers get some guy, Danner. I don't know who that is. I tried my best to do scouting, but like I said, at this point, just doing 5 seasons, we're going to be going into season 3 out of 5. The draft pick here really doesn't matter that much, but I guess we can try to see what we can get. We'll sort it either by potential. It's really slow to sort. We can get the Spencer Watson kid and just see if he's anything good. I mean, we're a pretty mid to late first round pick. So you can take whoever you want. I don't think it's going to matter. Well, let's also sort this by projection. And I mean, they really like this Hayden Hodgson guy. Seems to be projected as a pretty high player. But this is just skaters, so we haven't even looked at goaltenders. But man, it would take so long to develop a goaltender, and we did our job by getting Peter Mrazek, and we've grown him. So goaltenders don't matter to me. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw a dart at the board here. We're going to take... I keep sorting this by the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Just bear with me. I'm going to take the Spencer Watson guy and just see what his actual, overall or anything is. You can see, I forgot you can actually pull this up and look at the stats. that you've scouted, and you can see what is accurate and what isn't based on what your scout did. And that's color-coded. By the way, it tells you in the top right, but we're just going to take him. It doesn't matter. We're going to take him, and we'll see what he is. Remember that name, Spencer Watson. And if I hit quick sim, does that just quick sim the rest of the round? I think it quick sims the rest of yeah, it does. Okay, so there you go. There's the first round. And second round, continue. Boston will have the first pick of the second round. They really wish they got Connor McDavid. They got screwed over. They had a bad season. And all for nothing to miss out on Connor McDavid. So Florida will be a team to pay close attention to next season. Michael Dowcall, that's a name I recognize. I'm just looking for names that I recognize here. And then we will be on the board here with the 17th pick of the second round. And was that the Hodgson guy obviously went off the board. So I'm just sorting now by potential. Cramarosa has better size than... Yeah, I know the guy that we drafted was like 159 pounds. So we'll take this Cramarosa guy. He's a center. We'll just take him. At this point, I'm going to probably auto-draft the rest of the way. That would also nicely speed up the rest of this whole offseason as well, this process that we got to go through. So there's the second round for you. At this point, I think I'm just going to hang up the phones here. Unless there's a potential trade... I do want to go look through some trades, so I'll probably just edit. If I find a trade, I'll probably edit right to it. All right, so I chose to hang up the phones. I didn't really see much of anything, and at this point, I'm just going to auto-draft. Just auto-draft the rest of the way. We're in the third round. I didn't see anything that I liked in terms of potential trades. So there's the first round. Second round, you can see our picks. Cramarosa and Watson. Bemstrom in the third round. That was AI selected. Then the fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, seventh round. Okay, I thought we drafted two guys named Audette, but there you go. There's your picks from all of the rounds in the draft, all 7 rounds. Wow, we got 15 RFAs, and Peter Mrazek is one of them, and Sven Baertschi. We're going to have to really negotiate a big contract with Sven Baertschi because... he deserves it. Did we tender Sven Baertschi? So this is where I freaking love the offseason, is having to figure out all of these contracts. And we just have 3 seasons, including season 3 to go. 3, 4, and 5. Seasons 3, 4, and 5 left to go. So that's what I have to think through here. And our roster for this upcoming season is going to be largely unchanged because you see all of these guys are under contract for at least one more season, so there's not a lot of UFAs coming off the books in terms of skaters. But, what was the name of the... Aaron Ekblad unsigned, and he's 71. So we're going to go ahead and negotiate an entry-level deal for Aaron Ekblad. He's ready. He's freaking ready, so just give him exactly what he wants. And this was a kid we drafted, Evan DeHaan, Cramarosa, second-round pick. But what was it? Was it Watson? There we go. Watson, 55 overall, 3.5 gold star potential. Our first round pick. So there's your first round pick from... Does it tell you where the draft year? Does it tell you any of that stuff? There you go. Draft year and position. And Sean Monahan was the 2013 first round pick, and he is ready to play, isn't he? And he's also unsigned as a UFA, so we have to sign... I forgot about Sean Monahan, but I meant to sign him last season. He's only 66 overall, but we got to go ahead and get him locked up and under contract. And here's your RFAs. Marcus Granlund. Yep. He's gonna want, well, let me see. If I can tender the I'm gonna tender the qualifying offer. See if he should accept that. Baertschi's gonna be in need of a contract, so this is gonna be a big it's a bigger contract. He's gonna be asking for close to $4 million. $4 million for 3 years. How about that? That would take us right to the end of season 5. So I'll just take that. Max Reinhart. I'm going to tender that, and he'll be an AHL player for next season. James Martin. I'll tender that. Yep, we'll tender this guy. He can be an AHL reserve. We need players for the AHL, so some of these guys that are 70 or so overall, they can go play in the AHL, and we'll have a decent squad in the AHL. I'm just going to tender a lot of these qualifying offers for these lesser restricted free agents. Breen, how old is Breen? Is he an older player? He's 25. Yeah, we'll just tender him. He can play in the AHL. Kandari. Just keeping these guys around. I mean, just need to have an AHL squad for next season. That's all that I'm worried about. Okay, so we got through all the RFAs. Okay, I had to sort this because after I released Lamb, it changed it. So Rafael Diaz, was he a Canadian player? How did we end up with Diaz? Did we get him in a trade? Or I don't know how we ended up with Rafael Diaz. Maybe a free agent signing, but either way, I mean, again, could be a decent player for the AHL, so I'll just sign him. Easy, cheap offer. For the minors, David Jones. How many years do you want? 3 years, 2.7, 82 overall. You know, he's been a good player, but I feel like we can get a similar player in free agency and maybe at a better deal. Maybe an older player at a better deal. So I'm just gonna move on from that. Boyle, we're gonna move on from. He was a 1-year experiment, Brian Boyle, and too much of a loose cannon out there, if you know what I'm saying, from our playoff experience. Ryan Clough, same thing. Moving on from Ryan Clough. Curtis Glenncross, 32. Again, that'll save us some money. I'm just not going to bring any of these guys back except David Jones. So, well, actually, I'm not going to bring any of them back. I'm not bringing David Jones back at all. So, advance the day. And we should get back from some of these guys. We should hear back from a few guys. Okay, well, Sven Baertschi agreed to the contract. That was important. We needed to get Sven Baertschi back, so that's there. Diaz is back. Aaron Ekblad signed his entry-level deal, and Sean Monahan also signed his entry-level deal. So again, we've gone over it already, but Clough, Glenncross, I think we can find replacements in free agency. So we are moving on from these guys that have been serviceable, especially in Glenncross's case, more than serviceable Calgary Flames players, but we're moving on. Okay, goaltending-wise, we need a goalie for the A, but I'm keeping my eye. So in the NHL, just so you know, NHL goaltenders, Mrazek and Hudobin. That's obvious, right? And Hudobin's a cheap backup option who's probably not going to play a ton of games. Mrazek, I guarantee you, is going to see a tremendous growth when we get through the offseason. So McDonald, again, just need an AHL goaltender, so maybe a 1-year deal, 2 years. I'll do 1 year, and I'll go up as far as I can on a 2-way contract. And then Ortio is also the backup, and we don't have to worry about these goaltenders because they're just not ready anyway to play in the AHL, so that should do us good. And then Peter Mrazek wants a new contract, and we have got to make sure we get Mrazek. 2 years, 1.6? Hell yeah, that saves me some money. Actually, we'll go 3 years. How about that? 3 years, and can I save money by going down on money just a little bit? Asking price 2.3. What if we try 1.575, 3 years? I know he wants 2, but we're going to throw him 3. I'll offer him 4. How about that? More, well, wait. If I add more money, the asking price goes up. So that means he should definitely be growing if the asking price is going up, right? So if I go 4 years and we lock him down, you know what? Just do the 2 years. It saves money. We can probably go down on money if we do 2 years. And then we'll just revisit that contract before we do season 5. So we'll go down to 1.420 million for 2 years. Well, McDonald renewed, so that was good. And what about Mrazek? Easy. All right, easy money, baby. So that was a much easier offseason than I thought it would be. We're basically returning. We have to keep the free agents that we signed last year, Girardi and Callahan. We just need to go shore up the depth a little bit because we're going to be losing, bottom 6 players, basically. We're losing bottom 6, maybe a second-line center in Glenncross. So we need a decent low to mid-80s center. Well, Glenncross is a left wing, but I'm pretty sure he was playing center for us at one point. Wasn't he? I don't know. No. He was playing on the wing. So we need a second-line winger. We need a fourth-line center. That's what Boyle was for us. And we basically need a couple of second, third-line players. Yeah, I don't care about that. We're just going to go into the offseason. All of these guys renewing contracts as RFAs? Yes. That was just easy. Easiest offseason of my life. And here's where it gets interesting. Oh, Patrick Kane is on the freaking free agent list. And he's got 2 teams interested. Glenn Cross already has 2 interested. David Jones with 1 interested. So Mike Fisher, a little expensive. We're looking to not spend a ton of money here, but we do have the cap space available. We basically need 3rd, 4th line centers. So Brodziak, let me look at his stats. Just looking for a defensively responsible, 3rd, 4th line center. So Brodziak could be exactly that. We'll go after Brodziak. And I think what happens if I go for 2 years, that would actually save money by going for 2 years. I'm just trying to save a little bit of money, be a little bit cheap. Go down to maybe 2.35. It's so slow to bring the value of the contract down. Just hold on a second. 2.3. I'm thinking 2.3. What about 2.325 million? I can't get the words out of my mouth. For 2 years. So Kyle Brodziak will offer him that. So that takes care of a center. We need a second line wing at least. 1 second line wing to replace, Curtis Glencross. So we're looking for somebody that can play. There's not a lot available. I was thinking there would be more available in free agency. Lee Stempniak. We may have to go back to the same players. Brandon Prust. Gosh dang, I should go after Brandon Prust because, he's a very physical player. And we could use some of that in our lineup. Because we were not... Is it Sam Reinhart or Max Reinhart? Why is Max Reinhart... Oh, is it because he's an RFA and he didn't agree to... I think he's an RFA and he didn't agree to the tendered qualifying offer. And that's why he's here in the free agency list, I think. There's Brian Boyle. Again, we could bring him back. There's not as much to pick from here as I was thinking there would be. And, of course, there's an old name as well, Stajan. So if you really want to save money, you could go down there. We're not going after a big fish in free agency this year. We did that last year. But I think we're going to have to turn our eyes back to either David Jones, Ryan Clough. We may have to go back to a player that we have to revisit a player that we've already been with the Calgary Flames. We cannot afford Patrick Kane. Can't do it. I could do Glenn Cross. But he's probably going to be a little bit sour that we let him go to free agency. So I don't want to play around with it. We have $1 million in retained salary. I didn't even know. Who did we retain? I don't know who we retained. So we offered Brodziak. No to Wingles. You could get Fisher and you could probably play him at center and move someone on the wing. Or you could play Fisher on the wing. Because we have money to spend here, and Fisher could be a 1-year deal, come play in Calgary for 1 year, and I'll just offer him a little bit more money than that just to sweeten the pot for him. And I think if we go to 3.8, how about that? 3.8 for 1 year. Could play on the second or third line, I don't really care. So I'm just gonna advance the day here, and if we miss out on a top player in free agency, a Jones, if we can't get Jones, I would like to get Fisher and then know where we sit. I'd like to get Brodziak and know where we sit. I know that's 2 centers that we'd be going after. Let me look at goalies too. Anyone in... Oh my goodness. This would have been the year to actually go after someone in free agency in terms of goaltending. Because we could have gotten Fast to back up Mrazek, but it's fine. We got Hudobin. I'm just not going to worry about that. So this is just all skaters. We're good on D. I don't think we lost anybody on defense. Oh my goodness. So if there is an... very shocking or apparent cut in the video or something, my audio recording computer just stopped recording the audio for some reason. Okay. Anyway, we're back here in the off season for season 3, and we're in the free agent screen. I'll just go over it because I thought my PS3 had frozen for a second, and I quickly skipped past the free agent confirmation screen, and we did get Mike Fisher. So we got Mike Fisher in free agency. But Brodziak did not think we were offering him enough money. So we will, again, we have, how much cap space do we have? I think it was probably in that screen, but there's 7.8. Yeah, we're good. We can throw Brodziak in. What do you want? $3.5 million to play here for 1 season. You better be a hell of a, yeah, he's going to want some money. I bet you 3.220. 3.220. ought to do it for 1 season. Come on, to be my 3rd, 4th line center. Prust has accepted, so that's confirmed. Glenn Cross is gone, like I mentioned. Who else was there? David Jones is gone. So we can't bring those guys into the fold. And this is all that's left to pick from at this point. Paille could be a good depth piece as well. We just got Prust as a depth center. I got to actually go and look at my contracts to see what we got, because I want to kind of figure out what we got on the forward side of things and on D. So we'll sort this by forwards first. Here's how we're going to do this. Overall rating. So there's your first line right there. Baertschi, Camilleri, and Callahan. No doubt about it. That's the first line. Second line, Backlund. Hudler, you're playing on the second line. And Stallberg could be a second line or third line player. Fischer's basically a player that could also play on the third or second line, wherever you want to place these guys. Figure that out. Pouliot, bottom six. So let's just go over this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ooh, Nystrom. Yeah, Eric Nystrom's a fourth liner. Lapierre's a depth options. We're going to put him in the AHL, I think. So we need... Let's see what we need. Let me just figure out what we need. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with Nystrom. And so we need 11, 12. So we need 11, 12. We need 3 more players, basically, and 6.6 to do it. So we need 3 more players in free agency that are depth pieces. I guess that's how we're doing this, if that makes any sense. So where was Paille? I like Paille as a bottom 6 guy. So we'll give Paille a shot, 2 years, sure. If I can get it just a shade under 2 million, save me as much money as possible. We need pure depth now. So we're looking for wing, depth on the wing. Bergenheim may be a little bit expensive. This is like, you're not going to get a whole lot here in terms of really good players. Scotty Upshaw. You're into the 78 overalls. And not that there's anything necessarily bad, but if we could, I'm preferring players at least at a minimum 80 overall. At a minimum. And so, I guess we could chase this Bud Holloway guy as well. Yeah, I think we're going to have to, let me just sim ahead today. See if we can get, nope, nothing. No one came back with anything. I might not have a choice but to go after Bergenheim as well. We need the depth. It's either him or Holloway, and you could save a lot more money by going with Holloway. We went for Paille, so we would have the money to spend on Bergenheim. He wants 1 year. You know what? Let's just go to Bergenheim as well. He wants 1 year. I think I could go closer to 3 million, and we'd have the cap space to do this, but we'd be very tight on cap space here. 2.8 for 1 year, just to fill out the bottom 6. We're just trying to fill out the bottom 6. Oops, yeah, I want to advance today. We got something. Brodziak accepts. Okay, so there's 1. Danny Paille, there's 2. And Bergenheim, there's 3. So there's your 3. That's all we needed, those 3. I got to look at defense, too. We might need some defense. So we should be good now. We should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There with Bergenheim. 11 with Prust. Maybe Reinhardt. He's 80 overall. We could play Reinhardt in the NHL, and we could kind of keep someone as a healthy. Some of these guys, we got plenty of guys. We can keep some of these guys as healthy extras. Definitely Prust. Prust is a healthy extra, and we're good. So we're totally good, at least in terms of forwards. In terms of defensemen, it should be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, yeah, we're totally good on D with depth. So we're great on defense. We're totally fine there. No problems on defense. Max Reinhardt has been tendered an offer sheet by the Coyotes. That means I have 6 days to try to free up cap space. If I wish to match, I would not receive compensation for Reinhardt. I'm just going to let that go. Honestly. I'm letting that go. The Coyotes have got Max Reinhardt. They got him. They tendered him. Or we tendered him, and then they offer sheeted him. And I'm not going to get any... I don't have the cap space anyway. And I'm not going to get any compensation for that. It was a $1.085 million offer sheet for 1 year to the Phoenix Coyotes. Well, good luck. Okay, so here's the expectations ahead of Season 3. 38 wins, and that's from the GM, or from the owner. I am the GM. from the owner. And this is a big year because it will determine whether I get a renewal, which I turned off firing for this GM mode because we're trying to do 5 seasons. But anyway, hopefully I don't get fired. We got to do the scouting assignment, which I'll do that now. Do I want to leave it in the video? I don't know. Let me sort this by potential. Yeah, sure, scout defenseman in the OHL for 3 weeks and then get back to me. So the progress reports coming out of the offseason, and it looks like we lost out a little bit here. We have several players that have had attributes significantly modified in a negative fashion. So Mike Fisher, free agent signing, just to shore up the third line. Of course, I know he's 35 overall, but we just need that. We need depth or whatever we can take. He was 84. He's dropped to an 82. That's just age drop off. That comes naturally with the player getting older. Stahlberg is just 29, but he dropped by 1 overall and had 9 attributes modified. Can I see? Ooh. What in the world? It's just statistics. It's statistics for Stahlberg. He statistically did not have a good season last year, I'm guessing is why all of this stuff for Stahlberg dropped off. What did, there were 10 attributes modified for Fisher. So what happened to, Fisher. Ew. He just got to be a depth player, basically. It was most of his offensive skills, so don't count on him to score as much. Brandon Prust, he lost a little bit of statistical growth. So, again, probably didn't have a great statistical season and was supposed to be a depth, healthy scratch option. But then the Coyotes tendered Reinhardt, so we might actually play Brandon Prust this year. Daniel Girardi, statistical loss. He's not getting that old, so this is just from poor statistical play last season where, oh man, that's bad. 4 on stick checking, statistical growth, -4 for Dan Girardi. So he's got to have a good year. Maybe he was playing top line minutes last year, I think, or top pairing minutes. So I think we got to just put him in the top pair and hope that he sees a bounce back season with the Flames. And I don't know how much the playoffs affected some of this either, because Girardi was on the team for the playoffs. Bergenheim, a free agent, just lost a couple of attributes. Yeah, he didn't lose too much. A little bit of statistical drop off from 31-year-old Sean Bergenheim. Again, brought in free agency for depth option and depth purposes. Dennis Wideman grew. He's statistical growth for Wideman, who was our depth defense. He was a defense free agent signing last offseason in Season 2's offseason. And Giordano, getting that valuable playoff experience with the Flames. He saw a +1 of defensive awareness. Nobody else grew. You don't see any other changes here. Nothing for Sven Berchi. So he's up to an 85, which it says originally an 85, but last season he was an 84. So the growth is kind of capped off right there right now for Berchi, but he's going to be playing on the first line, so it could be a big year. Full-time first liner this year with Camilleri and Callahan. Goaltenders, yep, he did grow. He saw a boost. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is Hudobin. Wait a minute, what? Hudobin grew with +7 attributes modified. He's back to an 80 overall to start this season. Look at this statistical growth. Is that just from he didn't need to play all those games? He's best suited as a backup goaltender playing less games? I don't know if I can see his stats. I don't think you can see his stats from last season from this screen. Can you see it from here? No, you cannot see it. But I guess last year playing behind Mrazek suited him. And Peter Mrazek, it shows no statistical growth here, but he was an 80 overall goaltender last season, and he's going to start this season as an 83. So I do have that in the back of my mind going into this season. So he's listed as a backup, but he's going to be starting games, and he's only 23, so he's got the potential to still grow as we go through to hopefully Season 5, and I don't get fired by the Calgary Flames. And we knew Florida, well, they have Lecavalier. By the way, he is on their trade block, so they're looking to already move on from an aging Vincent Lecavalier. I don't know where the stats are from last year. This is what he did last season in 82 games. Not bad from a 35-year-old. Aging Lecavalier. He spent 13-14 with us, the Calgary Flames, and had 72 points in... How many games did he play? 80. He played all 82 games there as well as a member of the Flames, and that was last season, these 2 seasons here with the Florida Panthers. But the main reason we're on Florida is they have... Where is he? Oh, I don't see... He's not here. Wait a minute. Is he really not here? He's not on the main roster. Unbelievable. What if I... In the system. Oh, McDavid went back. Okay. 57 overall, 18-year-old Connor McDavid, 4.5 Gold Star potential, went back to the Canadian Hockey League. So he just went back to another year in Erie. And so that's how that went down. They did not sign Connor McDavid, which in the real world, he was drafted and then he immediately went up to the NHL. And we got Aaron Ekblad, who went to the Florida Panthers in the real world, and I wanted to see if Ekblad saw a jump. I got to find Calgary in this list, so the main roster. This is the whole main roster. It doesn't include who's in the system. There's Aaron Ekblad. He went back to the CHL. Oh, we signed him, but he went back to the CHL as 76 overall. He went back. So Ekblad is playing one more season in the Canadian Hockey League. We won't be seeing the likes of Ekblad for now, but there's who's all down in the AHL on our AHL squad. Sorry, the controller did disconnect. I don't know how that's going to be, if it'll be edited in or if it will be obvious, but there was a bit of a glitch with the controller for a moment there, and these are all players that are not signed as well, draft picks and whatnot, who are not ready to play professional hockey yet. So the lines as it stands, I agree with that. Camilleri, Callahan, and Berchi, first line, absolutely. Pretty dirty first line for us. I like it. Pouliot, I was viewing as more of a bottom six guy. I mean, who's scratched, first of all? Someone in this lineup is definitely scratched. And I don't know who it is. Brodziak. I'm not sure. I was thinking of scratching Prust and putting Brodziak in. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to end up scratching Prust anyway. So Brodziak, you can play on the fourth line. Does he have good shooting? He does have decent shooting category. A 75 face-off rating versus Fisher, who is a 75 face-off rating. So it doesn't really matter who plays center there. Yeah, we still got Backlund. So Backlund will be taking face-offs as the third line center. Actually, I kind of like the idea of maybe moving Backlund here to second line center. Hoodler can play on the wing. And then we have Pouliot. Bergenheim's a wing. And Pouliot is he a center? No, he's a wing. He is a wing. So Benoit Pouliot, we traded for him from Tampa. I was thinking of doing something like this. We might do this. Brodziak at center. Pouliot, whoops. This thing is so glitchy. Oh my god, it's all over the place. This is really going to piss me off. Pouliot is supposed to be playing on the third, there we go, third line beside Brodziak. So Bergenheim, what is he listed as? What does it tell us what player type he is? I don't think it tells you from the screen that he is, if he's a third or a second line player. But anyway, my point is, Bergenheim basically looks like a fourth liner. And then Paille, we can just stick with it as it is. Paille, the former Boston Bruin, that looks good to me as it is right now. This can be shifted and moved around as it needs to be. And it says we have 19 skaters dressed, so that means I just need to find Prust. There he is. Prust, scratch the player. It's just a healthy scratch. Defense-wise, I agree with all of this. Girardi, Giordano, it doesn't really change. Yemlin sticks around. How many years left for Yemlin? Does it say how many years left? 3 years. So we got him on a decent deal coming over from the Montreal Canadiens. We sent the Canadiens, oh boy, Brody? I think it was TJ Brody was sent there. So coming back with the same defense core here for season number 3 that got us into the playoffs. And your goaltender is going to be Peter Mrazek, who had, what kind of statistical season did he have? He played in 57 games last year. What a workhorse. 31 wins, 22 losses, 150 goals given up, 2.7 GAA, and a .912 save percentage in the regular season. So I don't know that you can ask for much more out of a goaltender that you're just trying to grow right now. And Hudobin, he got into 31 games of action last year and finished with a .912 save percentage as well. So very similar numbers between the two goaltenders last season. In the playoffs, we gave Mrazek a shot in the 12 games. We already overviewed those stats, but you can see what Peter Mrazek did in the playoffs. And again, we got jersey numbers to go over. Brodziak can wear 21, that's fine. Callahan wore 28. Yemlin, all of this is good. Who is a new face here that we need a jersey number for? Paille can wear 20. Fisher wants to wear 12, but I'm sorry. No one wears 12 here other than Iginla. So Fisher's going to wear 17 because nobody wears 12 except for Jerome Iginla. So we'll sim through the preseason and get up to opening night against Phoenix and Max Reinhart and the Phoenix Coyotes. Okay, so we're here at opening night, and I think we'll close this episode by just doing a real quick sim of opening night against the Phoenix Coyotes. I don't think anyone's played a game yet. I don't know if, no one has played a game yet in the NHL. So opening night at home at the Saddle Dome against a division opponent, the Phoenix, the Phoenix Coyotes. So they were the Phoenix Coyotes still, and we will sim the game. So first period of play, I just want to see only goals. We'll do sim speed times 4, I think. So going through that first period of play, and there's the first goal of the season. It's Dan Girardi from the point. So we already had a penalty kill that we successfully got through. And waiting for, I think, the first power play. I don't think we've had a power play in the game yet. Big shock there that the refs would not give the Flames a power play opportunity. And the first period of play is successful. We take a 1-0 lead into the intermission. Second period now against the Coyotes. Both teams are just rattling off shots now. Coyotes power play didn't go anywhere. Flames power play goal from Camilleri. It is a 2-0 advantage on opening night. We want to put the Coyotes in their place. They offer sheeted our guy, Max Reinhart, and they got him in the offseason. Chipchura gets a wrist shot goal, and the Coyotes on the board, but we answer right back power play goal for Camilleri. Clearly that power play is working, and it is not an issue. And we had another power play opportunity, not successful there. Big kill for us, long kill, just a few moments back in the third period, and it looks like it will be victory on home ice to start the season. Very nicely done. Can I go over the stats? We can look at the scoring summary. Girardi from Pouliot, Camilleri on the power play from Giordano and Weidman. Chipchura answered back from Yandel. Then Camilleri from Callahan. Second goal of the season and, of course, of the game. The penalty summary, if you want to see it here, and the home stats. We'll go over anybody a minus. We had one minus. It was Danny Paille. He was the only minus on the team. Played 12 minutes and 42 seconds. So anybody besides Camilleri having a multi-point game? No. Camilleri, the only player to have a multi-point effort. But a good start to the season. And, of course, Peter Mrazek with a beautiful .966 save percentage, 1 goal given up on 29 shots. So we're going to leave it there. We'll pick back up in the next episode. We sim against the LA Kings. We'll get into the season sim in the next episode. We started season 3 on the right foot with a victory, but as you know, these are long seasons, and we just want to hope to get into the playoffs and then do damage when we do get into the playoffs. But that's going to do it for this episode and the off-season portion before starting Season 3.